Hey guys, it's your girl Phoenix Novell, and I am back with Boss Bitch Tips. Thank you for tuning into my video. And today's topic is my top 5 boss bitch blues. I have some notes, so you might see my eyes go down a little bit just to refer to my notes. But yes, I'm a boss bitch, and this is a channel for boss bitches and boss bitches to be. But even though it's empowering to be a boss bitch, you know, and it's a really good thing to come into your own independence and sense of pride and strength, and learning how to assert yourself and be the best version of yourself you can be. Sometimes it gets a little irritating to have to deal with things that a lot of women who are a little more passive or feminine, there's luxuries that are there for them. Sometimes I feel there's nothing wrong with either way, honestly. You know, some women are just more okay with guys taking the lead, and they're not necessarily feeling like they have to be a little bit more, you know, in the driver's seat. But boss bitches, we like to be in the driver's seat. You know, usually things happen for us to feel like, okay, listen, I need to take control of my life. This isn't going right, or relationships, or the way I do things. But sometimes wearing that hat of responsibility can feel a little weighty, and that's why I created Top 5 Boss Bitch Blues. So let's just get into it. The first one is that a lot of boss bitches have to be misfix-it. You know, we see something is wrong, and before we even assess if other people could help us or are better prepared to do something or more knowledgeable than we are, we want to get it done. You know, we feel like if we are at least involved, the passion to get it done properly is going to at least help with getting it done. We don't like to rely on people. A lot of times it's because people have not shown up, or they said that they could and then they changed their mind at the last minute, and we just don't like to allow any room to be left out in the cold. It's just not something that we're okay with. And not saying that anybody is okay with that, but I feel like sometimes we just close the gap even before other people will get a chance to step in and say, hey, let me help you with that, let me do that. So it can be a little irritating that that's our first response sometimes, just getting in front of it before we allow other people to kind of help us with something that they might be able to really help us with. The second boss bitch blues is serious fear of losing ourselves in relationships. The serious fear of letting go of what we built, you know. And again, you don't just become a boss bitch overnight. It's usually a slow kind of rise to feeling like, okay, I have to do something to better my life. I have to do something to better the way that I perceive myself, the way that I perceive the world, the way that I feel about myself and my circumstances. And when we're in relationships, not just intimate ones, but when we're in relationships with people who are kind of playing important parts in our life, we're vulnerable. You know, we feel that weight of caring about the way they feel, caring about the things that they say to us, to a point of, damn, this could knock me off my game if they don't like this, or if they say this to me. You know, maybe I'll react in a way that I really don't want to react. You know, maybe I'll get sad or get emotional, and we don't like that. We don't like not being in control of our emotions. We don't like other people being able to play our emotions like piano keys. And again, I don't think many people do, but for boss bitches, it's really uncomfortable because we spend so much time working on ourselves, so much time trying to, you know, patch up holes of insecurity, you know, and sometimes just annihilate them altogether. But when it comes to loving relationships, it's very close to your emotions. You know, it's not just black and white. There's a lot of gray there. And it's hard for us to kind of get close enough to let our guard down, because when those people disappoint us, the ones that we care about, it kind of stings, you know. So that's the second boss bitch blues, is serious fear of losing ourselves in relationship, losing what we've worked so hard to build up, you know. The third boss bitch blues is boss bitches have a 2020 vision for bullshit. I mean, it's just something that, I mean, we've awakened, you know, and it's like, it's hard to put the rose-colored glasses back on because they don't fit anymore. Once we've opened our eyes to the real world, to the real us, to the real, you know, the way people are, and not just the way we hope that they would be or idealize them to be or dream them to be, it can be a tough pill to swallow, because it's not always easy to see people that we want to put on the pedestal, people that we want to really revere, human with their flaws, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, we can't pretend that they're not there anymore. We can't pretend that we don't feel some type of way when we feel some type of way about something. And so we know that, damn, this could really disturb the relationship, or this could possibly cause this person to, like, you know, not like me anymore. But we can't pretend. And if we try to, eventually it's going to come out in ways that we're not really proud of, because we've created ourselves into this person that just, we're bosses, you know. And it's like, if we want to maintain that level, that caliber that we've set for ourselves, we have to be very careful about the people that we have around us. And if those people are not up to standard or not up to par, even if we want them to be or had high hopes for them, they gotta go. And sometimes we get the blues about that, because sometimes it's easier to not address some things because of the way a person makes you feel sometimes. But we know in the long run, if we don't feel the way we need to feel the majority of the time around you, you're not best for our growth. So you gotta go. Sucks. Number 4 is we set standards for ourselves that sometimes are really hard even for us to live up to. A pridefulness, you know, it's like, this is what I want, this is where I want to be. And when we fail, if we fail, it could be really devastating. You know, there's a sense of superiority, not necessarily over other people, but over the way we used to be. And there's just like this, there's a wall that we have between the weaker self that we used to be, that we didn't like, and the self that we become. And if we find ourselves kind of like inching more onto the wrong direction, it's hard when we have to look at the reality of that, because we put these boundaries in place to make sure that we were staying on the path to better, you know, to the best version of ourselves. But when we get around people, or when we do things, or when we want to take the easy route out, or things get too tough, it's hard for us to admit to ourselves, wow, you know, I set that bar too high, or I failed, I just flat out failed. There is this need for us to be better, but sometimes it's harder than we thought it was going to be. And there's this pridefulness that we have to push through, you know, or to sweep it under the rug sometimes, you know. But at the end of the day, it hurts us to admit that we failed to do something that we set out for ourselves to do, that we made a mistake, that we went backwards, you know what I'm saying, that we backslid or whatever, because we know that we really made these changes because we didn't like the person that we used to be. That's number 4. And the final one is needing a superhero. You know, there's this masculinity to us that scares a lot of potential guys away, you know, because they don't always know that there's a softer side to us. They don't always know if they're not gonna be able to tame us, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of guys, they want to be able to know that you are going to play that part to make them feel like men, you know, not necessarily cower down and not work or not be independent or not be able to, you know, do what you're going to do, but just to make them feel like they are, in a sense, you know, the man of the house, the person who's providing, you know, and taking care of. And because of the fact that we do have ambition and drive, sometimes more than a lot of men, it's hard for some guys to be able to walk side by side with us without feeling a little bit of intimidation. So we know that we need men who are very secure, very solid within themselves, you know, and able to actually not be threatened by our sense of comfortability in being who we are, which is ambitious and strong and having an opinion and having a life of our own. Some people can't handle that. Some people can't deal with that. And so a lot of times we find ourselves single, really, really single for a long time, because there's a lot of guys who feel like, all right, I'm going to need to like push you down to make you feel like, you know, I'm the man. I'm going to need you to see. I'm going to need to conquer you to the point where we both know what it is. And I mean, there's always this dance that we do in relationships, no matter what, you know what I'm saying, in intimate relationships of, you know, power, give and take or whatever. But when it comes to alpha females, a little bit when it comes to more feminine, masculine females, sometimes guys can be even more aggressive and even more assertive, just to try to dominate them to the point of like severe submission. And when you have guys who are really sure of themselves and they're extra ambitious and they understand and they feel, I know I'm independent, I know I got this, and I don't need my woman to just sit home and just focus on me all the time. You know, so those kind of guys, they don't have a problem with us being kind of the same way that they are, but they're very few and far in between. It's not a lot of them like that. So when we do find that superhero, it's like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of hard for us sometimes to not cling to that person and like, oh wow, I could see myself having these babies, because we do want to feel like women when we're in a relationship. We don't need to wear the pants. We just want to be able to be independent for ourselves and go after the things we want without just making everything about the relationship. We want to have the same freedom that a man has, if you will, you know what I'm saying, in order to establish something that's for us. And it's very important for a boss bitch, very important for us to have that sense of freedom in a relationship. And when we're with a guy who feels secure with himself and who allows us that space and freedom to do that without feeling threatened, we are just mesmerized by that level of strength, because his solidity makes us feel like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Yay. So, and again, they're hard to find. So those are my top 5 boss bitch blues. Leave a comment. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you think that you can relate to any of these, and if you have any of your own boss bitch blues. Thanks again for tuning in. Peace out.